Hello, welcome back to my channel. This is Kendall, and today a little bit of change of pace. This is some questions going around that are kind of fun, just to get to know you type experience. 8 pen questions. I saw this on Chris Science channel, so I'll tag her channel there. Also, Simone and Leon likes, so I will tag them as well. Make sure to check out their channels, and uh, this is kind of fun. I would encourage other people to, if you're on YouTube, make a video or share it on Instagram or Facebook, whatever. So 8 questions. This could become a really long video, so I'll try to keep my answers brief. Question 1. When and how did your fountain pen journey begin? Mine started in 2015. I had seen an interview with Neil Gaiman, an author that I follow, and I heard about his passion for fountain pens. I looked into it, and it just seemed way too intimidating for me. So I did find a disposable pen, the Pilot Varsity, and I highly recommend these. Just $3, even less if you get a multi-pack. And I actually picked these up and I used these for about 7 years. And so these are a great place to start, and that's kind of where mine started. I was content with these and really had fun writing with them. And I wasn't really, for some reason, I didn't turn to YouTube to find more resources. In my mind, I needed to go to a brick and mortar store and try pens, which I think is a good idea. But I think if I were to redo it, I would go to YouTube first, just do a lot of research there. But 2022 in June, for Father's Day, I went and bought my first pen besides the Varsity. This is the Faber-Castell Ambition in the rhombus design. This is, I paid $100, and it's a lot more than I spend usually on pens, but that brick and mortar store, this is one of the lower end models anyway. I quite like it. And yeah, since I've found a lot of resources on YouTube, and that's something that I would recommend for your journeys. Question 2. Favorite inks in the beginning. What are your go-to inks now? So I picked up ink at that same store in June of 2022. This is Diamine Sargasso C, and it's a lovely ink. I do recommend samples, and I can't recommend this enough to just try more ink samples. In the beginning, I didn't know about samples, so and I didn't realize how long a bottle of ink would last. So go-to inks, I've found that I really do like Diamine inks, and Pilot, the Pilot Iroshizuku inks. I haven't had great luck with shimmering inks in general. I've had hit and miss with Noodler's ink as well. Sometimes the ink's great, sometimes it's not, but Diamine and Pilot are really my favorites, my go-tos. Okay, question 3. How have your ink and pen tastes changed over time? So I talked about my ink already. I've tried a little bit, and really I don't know as far as changed over time with ink. I'm still learning a lot and playing a lot. As far as pens, when I started, I also turned to Amazon. This was before I really dove into YouTube as a resource. So I would look at Amazon reviews, and I also had a lot of Amazon credit. So I picked up pens like this. This is a Dryden Designs and this one wrote really well, still does. And then I picked up another one and it didn't. And I found out later you can't pull the nib and the feed from these. So just things you learn along the way. I think the other thing I didn't know as much about was Chinese pens. And just using YouTube as a resource, I've learned a lot more about Chinese pens, the quality, and some of them have some really good quality and at a good price. Some things I've found I don't love, hooded nibs. I'm not sure, it's just not my style. But I did recently pick up my first gold nib, this Pilot Elite. I've got a separate video on that. So, I am enjoying this experience of finding things, testing things out. Question 4. Are there inks and pens that you have not yet tried but would like to? Sailor Gold Nib. I'd like to see what that's like. I do have a Sailor Compass 1911 and haven't loved that nib as much. I feel like people have said the same. Not to judge the other sailors based on this pen. I'd like to try Pilot Custom 823. That's also a Grail pen, which is the next question. And some other things I'd like to try. I'd like to try a stacked nib. Shown Designs has a monarch nib that's come out. I'd love to try that out. And some different grinds, like an architect grind. That would be fun. So there's a lot here. Also a stub from TWSBI. I like the Lamy stub that I have, and I'd like to compare that with the TWSBI. So inks I haven't tried. There's too many to name, but I am keeping a list. So I do have a sample vial holder that will hold 50 samples, and I have that as a limit. So if I want to try a sample, I've got to finish one off, and it's a 1 in, 1 out for that. What is your Grail pen? This is question 5. Pilot Custom 823. That is about $330. I just love that pen. It looks wonderful, and I've never heard a negative thing. I might look into getting it used. Another Grail pen, Leonardo. Those pens just are amazing. They look amazing. So we will see. Question 6. How many pens do you currently own? I have 25. I have quite a few I don't use right now because some of these I was still learning what I liked, what I didn't like. The hooded nibs as an example. So 25. 7. Question 7. Do you have a limit on pens or inks? Is it a number? Is it a feeling? When do you know you've reached your maximum? So for inks, I already talked about my limit of 50 and only 50 at a time, 1 in, 1 out. With bottles, I think I have to be in love with that ink to get a bottle. And I would like to have a policy of I have to finish a bottle before I get a new bottle. And really, I am looking for Grail inks. What is that best blue that I just love the most? And not to say you can't have more than one blue, but I'm looking for Grail colors in each color family. So that is something that I did a video on recently, is categorizing inks based on ink family. So here's an example. My most recent video, I dive into this, but creating a page for greens, a page for blues, being able to compare these, and cataloging that. When it comes to pens, I probably 30, but I don't have a number on my limit at this point. Really, the goal is that I can be able to use each pen regularly enough and often enough in my rotation. And I think it's okay if you have, for me, it's okay to have some pens that I don't use in my rotation. They have maybe sentimental value or cool features or some reason that I'm collecting those. But in general, I want to use my pens. So as long as I'm seeing them often enough in my rotation, I'm guessing 30 is probably about my limit. Okay, and then last question, number 8. Consequently, what would you do if another pen slash ink came along? I keep a wish list. I have a separate video on this pocket-sized plotter here. But yeah, I see an ink I like, a pen I like, and I will jot it down in my wish list. So here's an example for my ink wish list. I've got some I want to try, and I've got a lot that go through that, and I'll research them more before I buy. Same thing with pens, and I think budget is part of that. Obviously, it's got to work price range. And a good practice I have is that I'll write them down. I'll keep it there at least a week before I push the buy button or click on something. So, all right, well, that's fun. That's all 8 questions. Again, I recommend checking out the other channels that I mentioned that have these 8 questions. And if you are on YouTube, Facebook, Reddit, I think these are fun. And it's fun to get to know what people are doing, how they've um, found what they like, what they don't like, and just getting to know each other better. So please comment if you've got anything to add to this conversation. You can even answer these questions in the comments. And if you would give this video a like, I would appreciate it. It just helps the algorithm so much. And please subscribe. I've got some good videos on their way, and I will talk to you soon. See ya.